Okay. Thank you, everybody. Good evening or good day from wherever you're joining us. Thank you so much for your support, and we really appreciate your presence here. So today is the first day of our study group, and we're really honored to have you here. So I wouldn't take much of our time. I believe most of us are here, and those who are not here, they will be joining us very soon. So I'm going to introduce the group for those who are just joining for the first time. So Abuja R user group and the R Ladies Abuja is a local community of R users here in Abuja. We've also extended to using Python because now you can use Python in R Studio and you can be a multilingual if you want. So it's an open world. So it's open to all professionals working with R or Python or any other language. We use SQL. There's so many languages that we wouldn't want to miss out on. So I once again welcome you all. Thank you so much for joining us. So this is one of the study groups that we will start this year for most of us that are kind of struggling with R, we want to use this medium to kind of read together, learn together, and help ourselves to grow, most importantly. So it's not going to be a normal teacher we're going to be looking at is right on the screen here. So we're going to help ourselves to grow, learn, where we have to kind of move into using Python, we'll carry ourselves along as well. We won't leave anybody behind. So I'm speaking in the sense that there's one of our groups that's R Shiny with R, I'm Shiny with R or Python. So it's not going to be scary. We're learning together. So the next thing is going to be that, okay, I've introduced the study group, then how do we participate in it? So, like I said, it's not going to be a teach you class. We are going to learn together. So, what I would advise any one of us here is that you get access to this book. It's the second version of R for data science. You can read as well, and you can signify that you want to kind of present any of the chapters within the book. It's an open floor. So it's not a situation where you have to be perfect or you have to know it all. Nobody, I'm not a know-it-all as well. I'm still learning, and I believe in lifelong learning. So we all are learners. You can signify that you want to take any of the chapters. We are going to learn, we are going to correct ourselves, we are going to support ourselves. That is it. So then also the recordings for any of the sessions is going to be recorded and it's going to be available on the YouTube channel. We're going to share it as soon as we can kind of get it online. So it's going to be available. And we're also going to have the GitHub repo where the files, data, sorry, mute yourself. You're recording now, please. Okay, thank you. So we're going to have a GitHub repo for the projects for each of the study groups. So you're not going to miss out. So even if you miss any of the sessions, you're still going to get most of the resources there. And if you have, we are on our WhatsApp group, we'll be available to help you out on any questions you have, either during the session or after the session. So that's briefly how the study group is going to be for all science, R for geospatial analysis, then we have R for epidemiologist, and the last one is Shiny with R or Python. So these are going to be taken. So my name now, I'll go to myself. My name is Bilike Olatuji. I'm a data scientist based here in Abuja. So I'm an R user just like you. I'm still learning. and I'm still improving myself on every day, every second, every minute, as soon as I can lay my hands on something to do with her. So I'm not perfect. We are all not perfect, and we are here to support ourselves. So today's session, I'm going to be the one to take us through. So the book is R for Data Science, written by Hadley Wickham, and he has some supporting authors as well. Mensi Ting Paya. Sorry for breaking that name, then Garrett. So we're going to use this book for this study group. So this today, we are going to be going through the intro, the introduction, as well as maybe chapter 1 and 2. So then we'll record it. So I think that's the intro for now. So, but before I go into the book per se, I want to have an understanding of who I'm talking to. Kindly, if you want to talk, you can signify, but if you don't want to kind of show your face or something, or you don't want to speak, just put it in the chat. I want to know you. I want to know your level of proficiency with R, so that I would be able to kind of slow down or be a little bit fast. So please, I'll go off the camera and I'll allow you to introduce yourself on the chat. So thank you. So we'll take like 2 minutes to do this, then we'll be able to continue. Resume recording. Okay, so I think it's now time for us to focus on the book. Okay, so this is the book. You can always, let me share I'm going to share the link here on the chat. So you can open it on your side there, but I'm not going to stay forever on the book, but I'm going to go into R Studio. So does anybody have any kind of interaction with an IDE called R Studio? If you're not having anything like R Studio in your system, just let me know in the chat. Go ahead. Okay, nice. So I think we all have the R Studio now. So I'm going to be moving in and out of the book into R Studio. So basically, I'll go quick through the book. The book is actually for those who are coming into R. It's not that difficult, but we would break it down. There's still people who might say, okay, it's kind of difficult, I don't understand it and all this stuff. But no, if you take your time, have a really, really positive mind, you'll be able to get through along with every one of us here. So the book is for data, maybe a data scientist or somebody who is aspiring to be a data scientist. So we're going to look at getting skills for data science here. But from the summary of the book, we're not going into modeling, okay? I'm going to the introduction, okay? We won't be touching anything about modeling here, okay? So it's a kind of a complementary tools to visualization, but for those who want to go core, it's not covered here mainly. It's the first version, and now it's been shifted into another book for modeling, tidying models and like something like that. So what we're going to do is this, we're looking at what the book is going to teach us. So the book is going to help us to import data, different types of files. Maybe the data is coming from CSV, database, wherever it's coming from, even from the web. So we're going to look at that. Then tidying the data, we're going to look at how we can have the data in a tidy format that we have unique columns, then we have rows, observations in the data. So it's going to be in a table format, basically. So we're going to look at how we can transform our data into different shapes and sizes and how wherever, but you get to understand that. From there, we can kind of, it's an iterative process there. We can visualize model and all this stuff. So then we can also look at communication using Quarto. I think that's what we have here now. But we're also going to look at R Markdown for those who still want to understand how to use R Markdown. So, but here we only have Quarto. So that's just, I don't want to take too much time here, but you can read it up and just have a feel of what is. You can see from here, the modeling, that's what you won't have so much here. There is a book on that separate now. So that is basically what we have here in the introduction. So I'll go quickly to data visualization. Okay. So if you have any question, just signify, I will answer the questions. I will answer the question. With the book, what we have here, we're not starting with, okay, R, what is R, what is this? But let's learn by practicing. That's why I love this book. And for the authors, they actually said that, okay, it's better you see the pictures first before you start looking at, okay, restructuring and all this stuff. So we are going to look at how to create visuals first in this session today. So if you want to create visuals in R using this, there's going to be a package. When we're talking about anything that is kind of too bogus, I will explain. And if you don't understand, kindly signify and ask questions. So ggplot2 is a package. And when we're talking about package, is more or less like I have some task that I want to achieve. I want to do something. Maybe I want to create a visual now. I can decide to create some codes, bring them together. Maybe I have like 20 lines of code that I've written. I can bring them together to create what we call functions. Functions can now serve as something, all those codes that I brought together, they are actually performing a certain task. Like I want to create a line plot. Okay? Or I want to import something, a file, maybe a CSV file. I can create a function. If I want to do it without having bringing them together as something one, that means I'll have to write all those codes over and over again for any project that I want to do. But if I don't want to do that, I will combine everything together and create an object called a function. And this function combines all the lines of code, maybe 20, 30, 50, and turn it into something like just one line. We're going to get there. Okay? So this function now, I might have like 10 tasks. Okay? 10 tasks. Sorry. Okay, I'm coming. So excuse me. I have an issue there with my system. Coming. Okay, so I was actually trying to explain the function. So if I combine all those lines of codes into a function, and I have like 10 tasks that I have different functions for each of the tasks. So that's like 10 functions now. I can decide to create something we call a package. A package is going to be one unique thing that has all these functions in it. So I can say, okay, maybe I have a package that allows me to do 10 tasks whenever I go to the field, collect data as an epidemiologist. So I know this series of tasks that I have to do to get a report to my boss. So all the functions that I've created, I want to convert them into a single thing that I can just call, and I can, through that one thing called a package, I can access all these 10 functions. So without me writing, okay, let's say for each of the functions, I have like maybe 20 or 30 lines of code. I don't have to write 300 lines of codes. So I can just call maybe like one or two or 10 lines for each, 10 lines of code for each of the tasks that I'm doing, or less than that, or more than that. But it's not going to, obviously, it's not going to go up to 300 lines of codes anymore. So that is what we'll call in a package. So ggplot2 is something like that. So it allows us to create different types of visuals using some functions that are embedded in it. And this is our way. So we don't have to write all the lines of code that the developers of ggplot2 have done in the first place. So, but as we go along, you'll get familiar with what R can do and how you write the syntax in R. So ggplot2 is that package for visualization in R. So if is the basic, is it, okay, no, not basic, is the most popular of all the packages that you can use to create visuals. There are still base R functions that you can use as well. So in case you have tutorials that are referring to something different. So that is it. So the prerequisite is this. We have to install a mega package. That's a package that has so many packages in it. That is the tidyverse. So I'm going to take you out of this book. I'll take you to our studio now. So let me share now. Excuse me. So I already have kind of a brief of what the book has done as examples there. So, but one thing is that I will go through every other thing that is not captured here. So if you want to use any package in R, sorry, that's my internet there. So I'll go back to R Studio. Okay, so I'll close this project. For those who are so new, novice to R, so anytime you want to work on kind of an initiative or something that maybe if I'm working, even if you are learning R for this study group, it is advisable that when you open your R Studio, try and create a project. A project is kind of like a folder, a repository for whatever you do in this class, so that you don't keep a file in your document folder today. Then the next class or next session, you're keeping the next file, R file, in your desktop, on your desktop, or maybe your C drive. It's going to be scattered all around. It's going to get messy. and you'll look kind of, do I know what I'm doing or something? I don't know where this file is, but I used it last time. So in order for you to not get lost, it's advisable that you create a project in RStudio. So, and that's what I'm going to do now. So if you want to create a project in RStudio, is either you go through File, create new project, or on your right side here, you'll see an icon there. You can click on it. It gives you the same option. So whichever way you want to go through, you have a choice to make there. So I'll go through the File, New Project. So I hope you can see my pop-up. Please kindly signify. You can just say something in the chat. Can you see the pop-up? Okay, yeah, thank you. So choose anyone. I wouldn't want to go into the last two, but I'll choose the first one. That's new project. So I'll click on new project here. So you can now save it, even if it's going to be on the desktop, it doesn't matter. You can change it here by clicking the browse button, but at least you have a folder that keeps everything, every file, data file, whatever related to the study group in it. So that is the essence, okay? So let me just say my first R project, okay? So all these options, just leave it the way they are. Don't check anything. It's kind of an advanced aspect. Is either you are having a GitHub repo that you want to keep it there, and you have to get yourself to connect with your GitHub repo within RStudio before you can do this. So then also the Renv package, you don't need that for now. So, okay. So let's just go ahead and click Create Project. So now you can see the name of the project is showing the information bar of the RStudio. Then you can also see it on the right side here. So if your project name is not showing on this right side, that means you're not in your project file folder. So you have to kind of go back and look for that project. So if I can close the project now. So if you're saying no name here and it's just showing project none, that means you're not in any project. You are not there. So you just get everything mixed up. So let me go back to the project that was actually created for this study group. So I'll show you some of the things, the benefits now. So you can see here, I have different folders. I have a folder that I can keep the images of my visualization inside. Then I also have a folder by the name R. It's actually advised that, okay, if you want to have your scripts, put them in a folder called R. Okay, then you have a folder for data where I can have CSVs, whatever I want to keep there as a data. So that's just it. So everything here is kind of organized. So you're not going to get lost or mix up anything. So in this one, I can also move files around. I can decide to move this now. So let me just move this back into the data folder, and it's as easy as this. So I don't need to go out and be looking for something all around. So now let's go back to what we were talking about earlier before I went out of the project. So if you want to install now, or you want to create any new file, just click on this plus sign or go through the file as well. Then you have options of different files that you can create. You can even see that Python script is there. SQL, we have the shell script for those who are familiar with Bash scripting. Then you have SQL script, you can write that there. JavaScript is there, HTML, CSS. You'll get to see all this. You can use that maybe in future. So, but for today, you can create just a basic R script. Then you can save it, Control S, or you go to the file menu as well. Save it anywhere you want. Maybe my scripts. My scripts. Okay. So I can decide to choose any folder. I will choose the R folder, put it there, and good to go. So you can type anything you want there. So for those who are not familiar with Tidyverse package, I'm going to show you how to install it. You can type in your script, install packages like this. Then inside the bracket, open and close bracket, just put the double quotation mark, then put the name of the package. Just make sure you spell correctly. So it's going to be Tidyverse now. So that's the mega package that I'm talking about. So if I decide to run this, you can either click this button, run, while your cursor is on the same line where you type this code. So you click run, it's going to install it. I already have it installed, but let me just leave it there. Or you just use a shortcut that's Control Enter. So it's installed now. So those are the shortcuts. You get to learn some shortcuts as we go along the way. So after installing, it doesn't signify that you have access to that library or the package. So the package can only be available to you for you to use only when you call it or instantiate it by saying library, type in library, put the name of that Tidyverse. Sorry, there's so many packages there. So just put the name there in this function library. Then that's going to load that package for us. Loading the package in my environment here in R means that I'm asking it to bring into this environment, in this session, all the functions, all the packages that are available in Tidyverse. And if you look at my screen, okay, let me just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I think it's big enough. So you can see within this Tidyverse package, we have all these packages. All of them are packages, and you have their versions attached to them. They're just for information purpose. So all these packages, they are singular packages, but they are all combined together to make this Tidyverse package because they are following the same methodology, like they are following that tidy mindset of working with data. So that is that. So, but the one that we're going to look at today is the ggplot2. If you type it there, you'll see that it's going to come up. Okay, that's the last one. Okay, so any package name that you see or you've installed and loaded into your environment, you can access all the functions in that package. If there are hundreds, no matter the number of functions that you have, you access them by using double colon, then all those functions, you now see them. Because sometimes you might have a package that has similar names in another package. It's possible. So all these that are popping up on my screen, they are all functions that are inside the ggplot2 package. So, but we're not going to, sometimes you might, till the end of month's career, you might not even use some of them. So that's basically it. So now we have the Tidyverse package in our environment, and we have access to the ggplot2 package. So any question at this point? I've talked about how you can create a project. I've talked about how you can install packages. I've talked about how you can load packages or bring your package into your environment. Do you have any question at this point? If you have any question, just let me know before I move forward. So no question. Okay. So there's still one more package here. I think you're familiar with what I've done here now. Okay, let's say two. The Palmer Penguins package as well as the GG themes package. So you can install it the same way. So you can just copy and paste. Control. So what we have? Palmer Penguins. So I'm not going to install this. I have it I believe it should load there. Gigi's name. Let me check this spelling now. Okay, seems. Okay. So all you just need to do is run this. You can run them together, then oh good. Okay, I think that's done. Okay, so I would just run, select all, control enter, and everything is loaded again. So the first thing we're going to look at is the data. This Palmer Penguins package has the data that we're going to be working with today in it. So if I call the package name, you can see I have double colon here. So this is kind of like an object in that package. So you can have an object, a data object in the package or a function inside the package. So this is going to give me the data. So if you look at, okay, let me clean this up and do that again. So you can see we have a table. It's called is a table structure now in R. So a table is more or less like a smart data frame. That's what I would just call it for me. It's a smart data frame in R. So that's a kind of a fun way of describing it. So we have this data in this package. So that's what we're going to be working with. So anytime we want to use it, we can just call it. Okay. So if you now want to give it a name, because there are some objects that you might be working with. Maybe you imported the data from a CSV or Excel sheets, wherever the data is coming from, a database. It's okay. We're going to do that in chapter 2 to kind of create an object out of them, give them a name. And any object that you create, a data object, whatever, if it is a vector, you have them in this environment. Okay? So now that is what I'm doing on line 7 here. So I'm having it in my environment now. So you can see the number of rows and variables. You can click on the name and you'll see it here in like an Excel sheet format. You can see what is there. So that is that. We've fast spent the time. So the next thing, I've already gone through the book. So that's why I'm kind of jumping so many things. But I'll go back to the book and try to show you where I have all this. So anytime you bring data into RStudio, the first thing is have a look at what the data is saying. And that is where one of the packages in R, in that tidyverse, that's dplyr. Okay. This is another package. It has so many functions there. Okay. Just put double colon, then you'll be able to see the functions there. But we're going to talk more about this package. It's very powerful. Very, very powerful. It gives you windows or access to so many things, even creating SQL code and all this stuff. So that's just it's so fantastic that I so much love it. I love it's powerful, sure. So this package has a function in it that allows us to have a summary of the data. And that is this function, glimpse. If you don't understand, you have access to a code, maybe you read online or something, and you want to know more about any function in any package, it is professional to have a documentation of any function you have in the package. So for you to get those documentation, just come into your console or in your script, put a question mark and type the name of that function. Then you click and press down Control Enter. You will get in the window on your right, you will get the tab where it says help. So you have access to kind of look at what this has so many documentations because it's attached to Table package, debugger, and deployer. So let's click on this one. So get a glimpse of your data. So this allows you to just see, have a brief of what the data is actually talking about. And that's what we're going to use on this data frame. So that's why we'll pass that. And the only argument that is going to take is the name of your object. So if you run this line of code, you have a summarized information about your data. So here you can see we have how many rows now? 344, then 8 columns. Then we have the first column is this. It's a factor. That is the categorical column. It's a factor as well. It's a numeric, double values, and so on and so forth. So that is what we have. So if you are getting your console kind of clumsy or too congested, you can clean it up by using this broomstick. So just clear up everything that is there. So if you have questions, please let me know. So the same thing goes for visualization now. We are going to use the package ggplot2, and we are going to start with this function ggplot. Okay, any name of an object that is followed by an open and closed bracket is a function. So we want to get an information about this function. So if you can always use the question mark, or you come to the tab here, type in the name of the function, then you get information about it. So it creates a new ggplot object. Okay, so let me take you to the notes now, and the textbook actually. So for the textbook now, so I want to take a brief into what ggplot is actually doing for you. So I don't want to go too far. So creating the ggplot object here is like creating kind of a plot step by step. You're going to be building each layer. Like if you want to, okay, the ggplot. Let me Google it now. Ggplot 2 layers. There's a kind of, yeah. Let me use one of this pictures. Which one should I use? Okay, just let me use anyone. Okay. So I think this. No. Okay, I'll use this one. Okay. So there are so many layers that you're going to be using to create your visuals in R using this package ggplot2. Okay. So the first layer that we're going to be creating is going to be the data layer, followed by the aesthetics, the geometry, the facet layer, statistical layer, the coordinates, and the themes. So all these layers, you get to see them as we progress in this chapter. So I would explain as we go along. So the first one, that's for the data layer. That is what we are creating here. So for this function, if you just use it, let me take you back to our studio now. If I take away the question mark and I run this, if you look at my right side in the plot tab, okay, you can see there's a grayish background here. Nothing is shown there, but you know that, okay, something is here. If I clean it up now, yeah, just clean it. You see it's now white. Okay, so I will run it again. So what it's doing is this function is actually creating a canvas, like a foundation for you. It's a blank one. So it's just telling you that, okay, I've created a foundation for you. I know you want to create a visual, but for the first layer, for you to start, give me your data. Okay? So you need to pass the data, and that's what should be the first layer. And from the graphic, the image that we looked at now, the data is going to be the first thing. Okay? So now we didn't pass any data. So next thing is that I will just neglect the package name. I can use the function just like that because I've already loaded the package in my environment. So I can have access to all the functions. So ggplot. So if you press the tab key while your cursor is inside the function, it will give you all the arguments that you can pass in there. So the first one is the data. So it's giving you an equal sign. That means I'm expecting the data that you want to use. So our data now is the penguin. Okay. So if I run this line now, it's still going to be blank, but it already has something in it. Okay. There's data inside of it. So are we clear with that? So the next thing is, you've given me the data. We'll go back to that picture. Let's go back now. So let me show you the picture again. So the next thing is this, aesthetics. You've given the data, and I can see 8 columns there. I don't know which one, if you have a plot, I need you to tell me what should I put on the x-axis and what should I put on the y-axis. So that's the next thing we have to show or direct the function, that's ggplot function, to do for us. So to achieve this, the next thing is we pass in the second argument. So the second argument is going to be what? We'll put a comma after this, then press the tab key. So it's going to tell you mapping. So we're going to map a column to the x-axis and a column to what? The y-axis. So for us to be able to achieve that, we're looking at 2 values here. So we use another function within this function that is called the aesthetics. It also belongs to the ggplot2 package, as you can see from the pop-up. Any name that you have in the curly brackets is for the package name. So here, if you press the tab key, you can see, give me what should be on the x-axis. In this case, we are using the flip length mm. That's the name of the column. You can look at the names of the columns here in your environment. So let me just copy that, and so that we can be a little bit fast. So comma, let me just move this. So that's the next thing here. Okay. So that is what we are going to be having. I'll run this. Then you see something is changed. Okay. So something has changed here. Now we see some things displayed on the X and the Y axis, but there's nothing showing on the canvas. Nothing is here. So that is what is going to now take us to the next layer, okay? Where we will now map or tell, now we've done the mapping. We'll tell ggplot2 which type of geometry do we want to create. That is the next layer. So now I will be flipping up so that you see the picture and you'll be able to relate with it. Okay, yeah, that's the next thing. Okay, so now we've created the data layer. We've told the ggplot2 function ggplot where to put which column on the x-axis or the y-axis. The next thing is that which geometry do we want to create? That is it going to be a line plot, a bar plot, scatter plot, box plot? Which one do you want to create with this? I already know what is on the x and the y-axis. So that is the next thing. So I'm not going to do any copy and paste again. So let's kind of move a little bit faster. And if I'm going too fast, please kindly slow me down by asking questions, okay? So we've done the same thing as we have on line 23. So the next thing is this. We're adding the next layer with a plus sign. So all you just need to do is just put a plus sign here, plus, then press enter. Okay? So for all of the geometries that you're going to create, it's so beautiful that the functions are so descriptive. So the geometry is going to, any of those visuals you want to create, they are all going to start with geom. Everything. So you can see geom AB line, geom area, bar plot, bin 2D, all these are there. The box plot is there, the column, everything is there. So, okay, so in this instance, which one do we want to use? You make up your mind, just put the underscore and you'll be able to tell which one do you want. Now we have what? We have two continuous values with data, okay? So they are both numeric. So which one logically would you want to use? It depends on you. So it's here in this example, we're going to use what? The geom point that we want to create a scatter plot. So I'll run this. So we have a plot. So we have a plot now. So for each of the points is corresponding to a value on the y-axis and a value on the x-axis. Do we have questions at this point? If you have questions, please raise up your hands and let me know. Okay. You want to type or you want to speak? Just go ahead, unmute yourself and ask question.
All right, good evening.
Good
Um,
evening.
is is it possible to in the stages that you showed us, is it possible to skip a stage? Maybe you don't want the aesthetics, maybe you don't want the geometry, you skip a stage to another stage. Is it possible to do that?
Okay, give me an example of the stage you want to move to. That's it.
Okay, you don't want the maybe the second stage. What is the second stage?
This one, the point, the chart.
Yes, this
Okay,
catapult.
okay. Or do you want to create a different chart? Is that what you want, or you just don't want this stage?
No, I'm just asking a question. Like, is it possible? Is it possible in R to jump a stage? Like,
Okay.
can you
Um,
can you
I
skip
would say
a stage and go to the next?
I don't think so. I have not because one thing is this, if I decide to take this out, okay, and I decide, okay, yeah, you can do that, but okay, let's first of all take that out, what we've done before. Okay, now we have this. Now I'm going to go to the next stage. I think like let me show you. Maybe the themes, but there's another layer. Let me give you as an example. Maybe that one will help you to make some choices. So I want to put labels, add some information to the plot that I have here. Okay. So inside this one, I can decide to put a title. Maybe I just say, just maybe my, what should we make as title? Okay. My, okay. Or let's say Palma Penguin data or visualization. Let me just say visualization. Okay. If you look at the screen here, there's no title here. We just have labels on the X and Y axis. Okay. Do you understand? So I also want to change. Maybe I can decide to change what is on the X axis. The X is equal to, okay. maybe FLM. Let me just put it there. What else? Y is equal to BMG. Okay, so let's run this. I hope I don't get an error there. Okay, yeah. Okay. So can you see now I've jumped one line, I've jumped one step, okay?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. Okay, awesome. But does it pass any information?
No, it doesn't.
Exactly. So you would have to make a choice. Why would I want to skip one? So I can decide to skip this stage of not putting labels. I just put it there blank. But somebody can still make sense of it if I add that aesthetics, the geometry layer. At least I plotted something against something. And somebody can kind of say, okay, there's something kind of changing here. Or I can see if I create a bar plot now, I can see that the number of certain species are more than the number of some certain species. I think that would be much more kind of insightful than putting just the labels there. Penguins, Palmer penguins visualization, I don't understand. I just see BMG here, FLM here. I can make sense of this. So does it add up now? Have I
Yes, I
answered your
understand.
question?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think there's some is there a question? Okay, thank you, Patricia. Thank you. Yeah, Patricia is saying that every viz you want to create has steps. You can't skip it. And I think you know the reason why now. I think that was sorry. I think that was Patricia that asked the question, isn't it? Or
Oh, it's
who?
Queen.
Okay,
Yes, it's Patricia.
who
No,
asked? Okay, Queenette asked the
Gwyneth.
question. Okay, Queenette, you asked the question.
Yes.
Okay, now you know the reason why if Patricia is telling you you can't skip it, you know you can appreciate why you can't now, isn't it?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. Any other question? Okay, so I think at this stage, let's add that geometry back. So geom underscore points. Then we can combine it with this third layer now. So I think so the title is still not okay, and what we have on the exercise is not okay. So you can do that as something you practice on your side there. So just change those things later. So then the next thing let's do more. I think I still have time. So we'll want to look at how we can visualize something more than what we've done here. This is a scatter plot, but it still doesn't show me the trend of how this, I know it's kind of moving upwards, but sometimes for statisticians that are here, we can add kind of a trend line or a smooth line to show us the trend of how this thing is, how they are relating to each. I don't want to use too much grammar, but let's just look at the relationship now more. So what I did here, sorry, I think I would have lost you there. So what I did here is this. We have some categories, okay? The categories of species now. I'm looking at the time, but I'm running too fast. So we have some categories here. If we want to look at it. So we have three species of penguins. So we have the Adelaide, Gentoo, Tinstra. These are the three types of penguins that were surveyed. So now we want to look at how the body mass of each of the species, how they relate to each other, how they are kind of changing with their body mass and the flipper length. If this one goes up, does this one come down or so? So that's where you can decide to kind of create more meaning to your visual by bringing in categorical values. And you can do this by adding more values to your visuals. The colors here, okay? The colors, I can decide not to add this line. Let me take this one out first. Okay, so if I decide to use only this value, let me reduce the font size a little. I don't know. Okay, let me just use this. The color. I want to add color to the aesthetic, to the plots that I have. I don't want that line there first. So let me use that first. So you can see now there are different colors there, and you can see the names of the species. So Adelaide are those ones in blue. The chain strap are the ones in green, and gentle are the ones in blue. So this makes sense more than those black spots that we saw earlier on. Okay, so we don't even know which one is which. So let me, this one, okay, sorry. So these black ones, I don't even know where Adelaide is. I don't know where Chinstrap is, Gentle, no. So, but if I add colors as part of the aesthetics now, I will be able to differentiate. So, okay, I think those ones that are gentle, they actually have higher values of body mass. They are kind of bigger, and their flipper length is kind of bigger compared to Adelaide and Chinstrap. Okay, so from this visual, I can actually say that okay, no, this one's they are actually on the top at the top there. So gentle are kind of clustered upwards, then the Chinstrap and they are all here. So if I don't want to add that smooth line, okay, to show us the line that's the linear line, linear model line. So that's what the LM is standing for. So I'll uncomment this out. Sorry. So sometimes when you want to use shortcuts, you get a short answer. Yeah, okay. So that's it. So let me add this now. So this add more meaning. So we can see more information for those who are doing statistics. So then let me use some grammars that I'll get in trouble. Okay. So that is for this one now. So I think that's sort out so if you have any questions here, let me have your questions before I go to the next stage. Graphic. Okay. So we've created the visuals now. There are so many professionals, maybe epidemiologists, statisticians, they want to create a document. And we don't want to bring in this code into your document. We don't want that. So what you can do is, first of all, save your plots, everything we've done so far, as an object. So it's going to, you can give it any name you want. I can decide to make it Palma or Palm Vis. Okay? So I can give it any name. Just give it any name. It will be saved in your environment. Okay? So I am going to save everything like this, everything. I'm going to assign it to this name using this kind of sign or so whatever. So the less than and the dash. So that's the assignment operator generally accepted. You can use an equal sign as well, but basically you'll see this more than using equal sign. So equal sign is kind of used mostly for arguments. So I want to save this as a ggplot object. So I'm saving that. So if you check the class, okay, so Palmer, okay, Palmer this. So it's going to show you there is a GG. Okay, so I think you can see that. So it's a GG grammar of graphics object or ggplot object, whichever one you want to call it. So that is that. So let me reduce the fonts a little bit. So after saving it as an object, you can see it is in the environment here. So if you look at it, it's not going to be the code that you saw there, but it's converted into something else. That's the ggplot object. So what you need to do, there's another function, ggsave. Okay, so if you want to see more, it's also part of the ggplot2 package. Just look at it. You can see so many options or arguments that you can add to it. So what I'm going to do is this. I want to save it. I'll first of all give it the file name. That's for the argument. Then which plot do I want to save as this? So you can, what I'm doing here is that I'm going into a folder that is called this. So let me show you. It's already in my project and there's nothing in it. So I now want to save it with this name and I want to save it as a PNG object. I can decide to change it to JPEG. I think JPEG. So, and what do I want to save? What object, which visual? So it's better for, let me change this. So it's going to be Palmer, this. Okay. So I'm going to give it a width and a height. Then the unit is going to be in pixel. Okay. So this is going to be done soon. Okay. So now I have it in my folder here. So if we click on it, I want to open it. So just once. Okay. So that's kind of not so good. Let me show you what I have. So we have to change the size. So it's kind of too small, okay? So you can make it a little bigger. So let me change the size. Okay, sorry. Let me go back to our studio. Let's tweak the size a little bit. So let's make it like maybe 500. 500. So see that. Okay, still small. Okay, so please kind of tweak around the size a little bit. So that's just how you can create. So it's getting bigger. I don't want to stay so long there. So you can tweak that. I'll share the repo. Okay, let me just go to Git. So I'll share the link to the GitHub repo for this class. So you can go there so that I don't forget. So, okay. So, okay, push it there. Okay, so it's just, sorry, I can get distracted, resume. Okay, so there's so many things that you can tweak here. I'll go through one by one now. I don't want to skip most of it. So the next, after saving it as graphics, you can also change the shape of those points, okay? You can change it by going to the function for the geometry, at the geometry layer. You can give it the color. Okay, I want the color to be based on the species. That's the number of species. Now we have 3. Then I also want to change the shapes based on the different types of species that we have. So it's going to change it by itself. So then, okay, then you add it to the next layer, that's the smooth layer. So if I make this a little bit bigger, so you can see what we have on the screen now. Let me make it, take it out. So can you see the chart? Mm. So if you look at it, you can see there are some that are square shaped, there are some that are triangular shaped, then there are circles. So that is for the shapes. Okay, so let me bring down this. Okay, so from the shape, we'll go to what else? So the labels have demonstrated that to answer Queenette's question. So then you can also add a helper for those who are colorblind. Now, the colors will be based on something that is tolerant to those people. Okay? So that is for this one. So if I run this line of code, it's going to change the color that is kind of appealing or can be tolerated by those who have color blindness. So then we have the questions that are in the book. You can go practice on it. I am going to go for some of them, but you can explore and ask questions. So the next one that I'm showing here is the bar plots. So I've changed this. So bar plots are basically for kind of categorical data. So, and we're looking at kind of counts, some things like counts, or maybe you want the counts to be generated by the visuals. That's for another class. So what I'm just doing here is I'm tweaking the data a little bit. I passed in, okay. Okay, just let me bring it down. I'll break it down, sorry. So what I did here is this. We bring in the data. There's something we call pipe in R. So what we'll just do is that this data, I want to pass it to a function that is from the dplyr package. So I want it to count for each species, how many times did they occur? That's how many observations belongs to Adelaide, Gentle, Chinstra. Count those occurrences for me. So that is what it's going to do here. If I combine this, so I'm piping this data to this function to help me count based on this number of species, the species there. So if I do this, this is the output that is going to give me. Okay, so for Adelaide, we have 152 observations, Chinstrap 68, Gentle 124. So with what I have now, this is what I'm going to pass to ggplot to help me plot it as a bar plot. So for the x-axis is going to take the names of the species, then the y-axis is going to be the numbers, the counts that we've generated. So that is going to give me this. So you can decide to, if you want to add colors, we can add the categories as well, add that one to it, and we can, let's see, I hope this works. Or fill. Let's use the fill. Come on. Hopefully that doesn't take it. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got that. So I gave it some colors there to fill in the rectangles, and that changed everything there. So you can also go ahead with this box plot for, we want to look at the spread, the kind of distribution for this thing, the species shall, the distribution based on kind of all the spread, based on the build depth sizes shall. So sorry, I'm using the Nigerian into. So that is it. So we have a box plot for each of the species. Okay. So I want us to kind of rush, but if you have any questions, just bring them to the group. You have so many people there that can help, that can help us. So that's just that. Okay, there's this question here. Why does, like, okay, it's related to the question that was asked. Why does the following give an error and how would you fix it? So let's run this first. Okay, so it's telling me the error is this: problem while setting up geo. I think this is the is just a perfect scenario where skipping some aspects might not work. So error occurred in the first layer. It's saying caused by error in compute geom. Can anybody guess why? Because it's already giving us something here. Requires the following missing aesthetics. And that's why for any programmer, if you're working with any programming language, and the package or the functions are well documented and well tested, you would not get too lost. So if you look through all the error messages, you'll find your way out. So can anybody tell me what we can do to fix this up? Anybody? Can you guess what's Patricia, can you help? Um,
Hello, your line is breaking. What was your
oh,
question?
oh, so sorry. Okay, the question, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Oh,
Yes, I can hear you now.
okay, okay, okay. So the question is this, from the book, it says, why does the following give an error and how would you fix it? So we have this line of code, okay? This
Um,
line of code,
may I
there's
answer
a,
that?
uh, can we give her, let me just allow her to try, then we'll
Okay.
see. Okay, okay, she's already, okay, she's saying something here.
Okay.
Okay, it's not mapped properly.
Yeah.
The aesthetics are not properly mapped. Okay. Okay, you want to add more? Hello? Actually, the problem is the aesthetics. We need to tell ggplot where to put what. It's not that we don't know or ggplot doesn't know you want to create a scatter plot. But for before, okay, let's just make it funny. Before I scatter the plots or something, that's ggplot telling you where should I scatter where? What should I scatter where or whatever? So I should know what I'm going to put on the y-axis, and I also should know what I should put on the x-axis. So all what we just need to do is just fix something up there. Kind of, we can use the example that we had before. So we can push that into it. So that's basically it. So there are other questions that I've answered, try to answer here. You can go through them. I've also created some more visuals. You read the book and you also look at the code here. So we are looking at only categorical values. We are not counting this time around. So what ggplot and geombar is doing that is taking only the x values and making assumptions. If you and not assumptions, making calculations based on the number of occurrences. So I don't need to do the counts. So it's going to do it for me. So let me just bring up that function, geombar. Okay, the documentation here is this. If you read through the documentation, that is the way you can learn. Read the documentations about any function you come across. You won't get lost. You will even be much more a superpower in using that function. So that is just it. Just read through and you'll be able to know why only categorical values. How do you know the number? How do you know the size of this? So you'll be able to just get that sorted out. So that's just it. Then there are examples there too that you can run Okay? There are comments there that will help you out. If you select anything from the documentation, you can run it. Okay? So it's, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't completely copy it. So let me copy completely. So that should give me it. So that's it. Object species not found. No, it's already there. Okay, I copied more than what I should be copying. So that's just copy and paste wahala. Okay. Yeah, I did more than that. So that's just it. So please go through the remaining part. We can continue in the next session. But for this month, I'm going to round up here. We're going to stop here. It's past the time that we've allotted for this. The next class is going to be on Saturday. So that's going to be R for epidemiology. So the next one is going to be for geospatial on Wednesday next week. Then the last class will be for R Shining. So you can join all these classes. We're going to share on the WhatsApp group, on the meetup page. And for those who registered, we're going to send the emails out. So please look forward to that. And if you can join the WhatsApp group, join it, ask questions, or send email. We'll try our best to answer the questions because we're all tied up in one jobs, our normal job, but this just what we give back to the society. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you for joining me so far. And if you want to take any of the chapters, okay, I would accept it. Okay, thank you. I will accept it just after this class. So if you want to take any of the chapters, you know, one thing we all believe in is this. If you want to be a super guru, try and teach. Even if you make mistake, it's a life coding class or you prepare for the class, we'll help ourselves out. Okay, there will always be somebody here. I would always be, by God's grace, in all the sessions. So we will be there to help. But if you don't fall like a baby, if the baby doesn't fall and stand up, it will never learn to walk or crawl. Okay, so that is just the way. So we would like to invite you. Just signify that you want to take any of the chapters. Try your best to learn because we don't want this to be, okay, we come to class, we want to teach. No. Okay, we want you to also participate and support the group. So I look forward to hearing from you and see if one of you want to take that challenge and just take us through, share your knowledge and support the group. So we'll round up at this point today. So God willing, next month, but we can always continue the discussion on the WhatsApp group. I think preferably on the WhatsApp group. So thank you so much for, please can we have the raw data to work with for the next class? Okay, the data actually, the data is going to be in the project and the GitHub project, but it's not data that is kept somewhere. Is this data? This is the data. Okay, let me just put the data belongs to this package, Palmer Penguin. Okay, data for this script. Immediately you run this, this line. Let me clear the console. You'll get it in the console. Okay. So if you now want to save it, okay, it's the same thing that I did on line 8. So you just save it like this and you have it in your environment. You can use it or but this is going to be too long and might get you lost. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Jimmy, Patricia, Adefunke, Dr. Uwa. Thank you. Sam Rates, are you still there? Okay, thank you, everybody. Lukman, thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you, everybody. Queenette, it was nice having you. Okay, thank you all. Thank you very much. So see you on Saturday.